Hello, my name is Daija Holland, and I will be presenting my final portfolio titled The Finale. I came into this class with very little expectations. I only knew that we were writing, assignments would be due, and that we would read. When I walked into class the first 2 days, I got an overview of the course plans. I became aware of what I needed to do to be successful. As the course went on, I became more accustomed to the assignments that we'd be given, but at first, I was overwhelmed. We started Unit 1 with the type of self-reflection essays that I was used to. Like all essays, I didn't know where to start. Luckily, one of the activities we had to do in class included answering questions to help us jumpstart our essays. In answering these questions, I was able to get a grasp on my life history and use it to build my essay successfully. At the start of the unit, my goal was to take the time to read through the articles provided and improve on how I analyze a text. As the unit carried on, I began to refocus my goals. My goals started to shift toward the idea of finding new viewpoints and incorporating them into my everyday life. In reading the assigned articles for Unit 1, I was able to identify the literacy sponsors and discourses in my childhood. By doing this, my ability to tie the article readings to my essay improved. The correlation between my experiences and the articles read made my essay very successful. As we moved on to the next unit, I could feel the difficulty increasing. At the beginning of this assignment, I had a hard time trying to pick out who I was going to write about. At first, I couldn't wrap my head around the topic itself. Although I knew I was supposed to look at writing as a broad topic so I could pick a writer, it was harder than I thought it would be. At one point in class, I began to think that I would like to improve myself in regards to expressing my emotions. I then began to think of people I knew that wrote down their thoughts and emotions in a journal. I began to think about how my friend Josette wrote about how she felt in her journal. After realizing that I could use my friend as a writer for my essay, I became able to create questions to ask her with the intention of extracting information. That was probably one of the hardest things I had to do, because I wasn't sure exactly what I was looking for. With the help of the crafting interview questions assignment, I was able to gather my thoughts. In doing this, my questions became more narrowed down. For example, I said that I was curious as to how Josette came up with the idea to use journaling and poetry to release her current emotions. I took this thought and converted it into a question. What inspired you to write self-reflective journal entries? In order for me to get all the information I needed effectively, I typed all the questions I wanted Josette to answer and had her type out her responses. By gathering the information electronically, I was able to copy and paste her answers in a place where I could clearly refer back to them whenever I needed them as a reference in my essay. Josette wrote out her responses while on a Skype session with me. In doing this, she was able to elaborate on any points that I wished to know more about promptly. The verbal communication helped me gather her facial expressions and emotions when describing her writing processes, which contributed to my understanding of her emotional message when writing. For the second part of the unit assignment, there was the multimodal aspect. As I began to think about the multimodal aspect of this assignment, I pondered on the idea of making my essay look like a poem. I realized the structure would be difficult to organize, therefore I scrapped the idea. I then began to think that writing my essay in the form of a journal would be a nice spin to the assignment. It was an interesting idea that I thought would work in respect to Josette and her writing style. Because I needed a reference on how I would format the journal, I asked for a picture of her journal for reference. Because the journal aspect related to the information I was speaking about in my essay, I was able to get points in the multimodal aspect of the rubric. I'd say that my weaknesses in this essay would have been my lack of definitions for words and the fact that my focus strayed off topic occasionally. After Unit 2, we then shifted our focus to Unit 3. In Unit 3, my goals were to be able to analyze any type of article and successfully give my thoughts on what I read. The title Argument as Emergence, Rhetoric as Love interested me, so I decided to read the article. The idea the article sought to prove intrigued me and pushed my decision to review the article. When I completed the essay, I gathered the comments from my peers and teacher to complete my essay. I decided to change multiple elements of my essay. Some of those small changes included things such as changing the part of speech in some areas, adding course readings, and adding perspective as a student. Although my essay was good, I lacked detail on the strengths and weaknesses in the article. I also had a hard time connecting my thoughts as an ENC 1101 student in the essay. Overall, I'd say that I did a pretty good job on all of my unit assignments. They sparked what I think is to be a beneficial change in my writing, and I hope to use what this has taught me in my future everyday life.